Thank you so much for your interest in Algebra 1 at eXtend Homeschool Tutorial. I am Kym Kent. In addition to serving as the tutorials director along with Nicole Green, I also serve as the Algebra 1 tutor. So this video is designed to hopefully answer a lot of questions that you may have about the Algebra 1 class here at eXtend. So with that, let's launch right on into it. The prerequisite for Algebra 1 is successful completion of Saxon Pre-Algebra or an equivalent course with a C or better. If you are coming to us, like if I haven't had you and you're coming to us straight, I'm going to give an assessment to determine whether or not this class is an appropriate placement for your student. This class is definitely geared towards ninth grade students and above. And depending on the results of the class, of the assessment, you'll either be like, okay, come on in, or maybe you might need to do a little bit of something either over the summer or during the year to make sure that you have some success with this class. So let us move on. The curriculum, we use Saxon Algebra 1, the 3rd edition. Please do not get a different edition. We only use the 3rd edition, and there are plenty of them out there. So I do recommend that you get this book used since it is not a consumable, it's a textbook. Again, please make sure it is the 3rd edition of this book. Do not purchase the test packet. I create the test for this class, so the test packet would be practically useless. I don't really recommend getting the homeschool packet because all that is gives you just the answers to problem sets. It does not give you step by step. What's good for at-home use in this class is the solutions manual, but please understand that solutions manual is for parent use only. This is not one of those situations where you have the solutions manual and you hand it to the student, because I can just tell you, I've been doing this long enough, where it's very difficult to resist the temptation to just start copying answers. And let me just tell you what happens. How do I know what happens? Because invariably, number one, there are a couple of mistakes in the answer key, and so that's a flag right there. The other thing that happens is that I'll have a student that'll start working on that question, or like at least write out the first part of it, and then the answer is the answer to the question either above or below that question. Whatever. So again, I'm just going to tell you that solutions manual needs to be for parent use only. What that looks like is that if your student's doing their work, the parent can kind of look over and say, hey, you know what, number 4 isn't correct. Can you just go back and redo that one? And there's something very amazing and powerful and empowering that happens when a student has an opportunity to go back, see where they made the mistake, learn from it, and then they're more attuned, like, oh, I need to watch this. And so I need to make sure that I don't do this, because when I did that, I had this little pitfall. And so I was able to go back and saw the mistake that I made, and I was able to correct it. Very powerful. All right. Let's move on. The expectations. What can you expect in this class? We're going to complete all 120 lessons in this book. Let that sink in. We're going to do 120 lessons over the course of 28 weeks. It's a lot. And beginning week 2, the students will be having weekly tests at home. The tests are open book and open note, as is the homework. It's designed to be that way. I don't expect kids to memorize like half of this stuff like from the day that we learn it. Absolutely not. And so I really encourage your students to take great notes. I'm going to talk in a minute about that formula notebook. And they use that to use the text. There are such things as what I call gimme questions, which are basically definitions. There is no reason to get those wrong. Just whip out the book, write the definition, and you're done. I don't consider that cheating. That's just, I'm telling you, you're able to use. Mrs. Kent, you're fussing in this video. Don't be fussing in this video. Okay. But I'm just letting you know, you really need to be using those notes and the book when you're doing the homework and when you're doing tests. Okay. It's open note. An open book, but not open assistant. When your students are doing the test, it's them and them alone with their notes and their book. All right. This is a class. I love this class. Listen, I have so much fun with this. I have so much fun with the kids with this. And at the same time, it's intense. So it is so important that your student develops the discipline of doing the work. This class requires time in the material. I can't even tell you. I have some kids that come to me and go, so Miss, can I get extra credit? No, it's not like that. It's time in the material. I mean, that's it. So there you have it. Anyway, this class is going to be administered using Google Classroom. Assignments have to be submitted through Google Classroom, and they must be submitted as a single PDF or a single Google document. If you give me multiple PDFs, I'm going to send it right back to you and go, please follow the instructions. And what's good is that in Google Classroom, I have videos that I have created that walk you step by step how to submit your work as a PDF, as a single PDF. There's a video step by step how to submit your work as a Google document, not as a link to a document, but as the actual document. Okay. So it's going to be so important. And, I say this so many times that this class is just as much a test of a student's discipline as it is their math skills. The two go hand in hand. So please be doing that. Also in Google Classroom, let me mention this. At the top of the classwork section, there is a heading that says instructions for homework completion and tests. Listen, I need your student to be looking at those instructions because it tells them certain things that are required. For example, when we're graphing, and in this class, we do a bunch of graphing. Now, I'm going to give you pre-printed coordinate planes. I'm going to give you tons of them through the year. That's part of that copy fee. Okay. But listen, one of those requirements is no hand-drawn, no hand-numbered coordinate planes. They have to be pre-printed, pre-numbered coordinate planes. If a student gives me a hand-drawn plane, you can ask any of my former students. If you give me a hand-drawn coordinate plane, they're getting 0 credit. You got to follow those instructions. I mean, it is what it is. Okay. So there are a number of reasons behind that, which I'll go into later, not during this thing, but that's like another thing. But just know that that's one of those requirements. When we're doing simultaneous equations, they have to not only identify the point, but then go and graph the point on a coordinate plane. That's part of those ongoing instructions. And then there are also times like right now, as I'm recording this, we're in a phase right now in the class for Algebra 1 where they have to be reading the instructions for each assignment. Because I will say, for example, I need you to do question number 1, I need you to omit question 4 and 6, and I need you to include question number 9. Well, if you're not reading those instructions, in some instances, that's a loss of 5 points on a homework set. Not helpful for your grade. So again, it goes back to the discipline thing. It also goes back to the making sure that students get into the habit of reading and following instructions. So that's something that we do here. Okay. Anyway, there's an optional study group available. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that right now. And then, of course, you'll get a quarterly report and end of year grade through Google Classroom and GradeKeeper, which I still love GradeKeeper. All right, study group. Let's talk about that because for this class, for Algebra 1, study group happens twice a week. The first, we're going to do it on Thursdays on campus in person from 1:10 to 2:10. The reason that is that allows those students that may be taking world history, my son is one of them, they'll only miss like 5 minutes of study group, not a big deal. But then if they're also taking PE, right, which starts at 2:15, they'll have a full hour with me before they need to go over to PE, and we'll be shuffling students over to Mount Oak for that. Then on Wednesdays, we'll do the second day, because it used to be that I would do a study group on Tuesday and a study group on Thursday, like pretty much within an hour-ish or so. I did those virtual. Like this year, I'm doing them virtually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I would always do them Tuesdays and Thursdays because the material was fresh. Well, this year coming for 2022-23, y'all know on Tuesdays that awesome computer class that we have our students, that many of our students are participating in, and I don't want to deny them the opportunity to do that. So we're going to do the Tuesday, what would normally happen on Tuesday for study group, instead we're going to do that Wednesday morning from 9:30 to 10:30. Okay. And the way study group works, you begin with the ask. Those of you that have had me for algebra already know the deal, but just imagine that and then some for Algebra 1. We're going to begin with ask, and then we're going to go right into doing a homework lesson because we learn by doing, and we learn by doing together, asking those questions together, working through those questions together. It's $25 a month for the first of the month for September, October, November. December, we're still meeting at least 4 times in December. And then in May, we're meeting 3 times. So that kind of December payment covers that, especially if you're doing both. January, February, March, and April. The way study group is designed is month to month. So it's kind of like the a la carte classes. If this month, first month of September, you don't need it, that's cool. Don't do it. Don't pay for it. But let's say that November hits and you're like, I probably need to go to study group. That's a great time to jump into study group then. Okay. So that's that about study group. Most kids really, it's amazing to me how kids like really love study group, but I get it because it's an opportunity to get homework done and also to help solidify their understanding of the information. So, I mean, I get it. You know, I got my kids in study group and it's made a world of a difference. Anyway, okay. Next, student expectations. You need to stay on top of all assignments. Listen, I gotta say, study group helps with that. It kind of does because we're doing homework there. But your participation grade for this class is also dependent on whether or not you're turning in your homework on time. Every 4 late assignments results in a 1-point deduction out of 10 points for your participation grade. So there you go. Also, again, remember I talked to you about reading the assignment instructions and that ongoing instructions. Please make sure you're doing that. That's another means of being able to stay on top of your assignments, stay on top of your work. I will just tell you, because again, we're doing 120 lessons. If you fall behind, it's a Herculean task to try to catch up. So please don't fall behind in this class. Just don't. Just don't. Okay. Show all your work. There's an automatic half-point deduction for not showing work. You can give me the right answer. If you show me no work, it's automatically half off. You got to do it. You've got to show work. It's so important. I will just say too that if you keep on going, you do it on the community college level, you can have a perfect answer. If you show no work, you get a 0. So please get into the habit. Again, what we're trying to do now is establish some really good patterns of disciplines in you now that will carry you for the rest of your life. Also take notes. I give lots of notes. I'm going to provide every student with a formula notebook that came out of conversations with Mrs. Bracy in advanced math. She's using formula notebooks. In 7th grade math, she's using formula notebooks. And I'm like, okay, so I'll change my spiral bound 3x5 cards for a formula notebook. So every student's going to get one, and we're going to fill that out. We're going to fill that up through the course of the year. Also, ask questions. I love Proverbs 25:2 that says it's the honor of kings to search out a matter. Ask questions. In my class, I encourage that. I applaud people who are asking questions. Usually, most of my students will say, they've heard me say, thank you for asking that question, because it tells me that you're thinking and lets me know that you're about searching out that matter. And it helps you to understand. And I guarantee your neighbor is probably sitting there thinking the same thing. So please ask questions. Be prepared. Have your textbook, have your questions ready to ask. And also academic integrity. I've already mentioned that. Even in homeschooling, you got it. That's the bar, academic integrity. Okay. Next, for parents, I need you to help your students stay on top of their assignments. Please be aware of what your student is or is not turning in. Check in on their Google Classroom. Please sign up for the Guardian summaries from Google Classroom, because then you'll know right away what's missing and what's not missing. I'll tell you, well, I could talk about my son, but I'm just saying, my kids, they know if it's missing, mommy is on them. So help your students stay on top of their assignments. Check their work. Make sure that they're showing their work. If they're not showing work, say, hey, you know Mrs. Kent's going to take off half a point. Help them out with that. And if you have a solutions manual, give them the opportunity to go back and take a second look at those questions that they're getting wrong and correct them before they submit it to me for grading. All right. And by the way, yes, so I grade the homeworks, I grade the tests because it helps me know where they're at. Okay. Encourage the use of their notes. Please, if you see your students getting ready to take a test, you should say, do you have your notes? You got your book? Okay, cool. There you go. Mrs. Kent said you need to have that. All right. And encourage them to ask questions. Remember that verse from Proverbs 25:2. Also encourage them in academic integrity. I can't say much more about that, but please encourage them in that. All right. Summer prep. Yes, I do. There is a summer prep class. Those of you who had me for pre-algebra, you know I did summer prep for that. There's definitely a summer prep for Algebra 1. It's the same thing, 5-day a week for 5 days for 1 week. Each session is independent, and you see the topics here in this slide. If you only need, let's say that you only need to look at exponents and zero, exponents and absolute value. That's all you need. Then just take session 2. If all you need is geometry, just do session 3 and you're cool with everything else, just do what you know what you need. So just if you need this, take it. If you don't need it, okay, that's cool too. But I'm just making it available. So there you go. And you'll have information, further information on this with my welcome letter. Is that it? Oh, we're almost done. Okay, communication and contact. Of course, Google Classroom in the stream. You'll see me from time to time, post up in there. For parents and students, the quickest way to reach me is to text me. There's my phone number. Email is like snail mail for me because those of you who've had me before and you've seen the date, the timestamp on some of my emails, you know I don't get to my email until really, 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 really late. So if you want to get a hold of me, the best way to get a hold of me and quickest way to get a hold of me is text me. I will tell you on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, getting myself and my kids out the door so that we can be at Mount Oak by 7:30. Okay, opening up doors and so forth. So if you're trying to send me an email on a Tuesday or Thursday morning, know that I will not get it. Best bet is just to text me. All right. And then also Mondays and Fridays, I usually set aside to handle more in-depth communication. Like if it's something that requires more than just a quick text back to you, then I'll probably handle that on a Monday and Friday. Just please understand that I'm like you guys. I am homeschooling my kids too. I got 2 still working through. So yeah. All right, so that's it. Yay! I know it was a lot of information, but this is like a big class and there's like a lot of stuff to give you. Um, and so if you have any other questions at all, please definitely reach out to me, send me a text, send me an email, and I will respond. I thank you again for your interest in Algebra 1, and I look forward to seeing you and your student in the fall. Thanks so much. Bye.